Hello and thank you for joining gappsfix.com. Fix your Google Apps today. In today's lesson, we will see how we can map our Google site with our custom domain, such as www.domain.com. So what's our agenda for today? In next few minutes, we will be discussing, does Google really provide web hosting services? Understanding how Google site mapping functionality works, and a live demonstration to map your Google site with your custom domain name. Now the question which most of you would have, does Google really provide web hosting? And the straight answer to that is no, it does not. However, you can map your Google site to your custom domain, such as www.yourdomain.com or sales.yourdomain.com. Understanding how Google site mapping functionality is recommended before we go ahead towards live demonstration of mapping your Google site. Through mapping, you can actually redirect your Google site visitors to your custom domain. By tweaking a bit, you can also map your naked domain, which means without any subdomain such as www, to your Google site. Google site mapping is only allowed to your primary domain. So in case if you have multiple domains configured in your Google Apps, you will not be able to avail this functionality of Google site mapping to the sites which are created in your secondary domains. You can map up to 5 subdomains to a Google site. You need to ensure your Google site is public so that all your visitors can see your website. We have seen 301 redirects might create problems, so you need to ensure to avoid them. Now I have listed few steps which you should consider, but I'm going to skip them because we will be going towards live demonstration soon. Now what's our scenario for this demo? We have a Google site that is available at this URL, which we will be mapping to our custom domain www.cloudfixer.com. So let's go ahead and map a Google site to our custom domain. Now to map our Google site, we need to go to our Google Apps control panel. So in case if you don't know how to do that, we will recommend you to watch our other tutorials to understand your login options to Google Apps. Once you're on control panel, click on the settings tab. And now we need to go to sites specific settings, which can be found on the bottom left. Click on sites and then click on web address mapping link. Click on add a new web address. Here we need to provide our Google site address. So let's go to our Google site, which we plan to map. Copy the address, which is after our domain name.com. Come back to Google Apps control panel. Paste it and provide the desired name for your mapping. In our case, it's www. Click on Save Changes. Google will now ask you to create a CNAME and point it to ghs.google.com. In my case, it's www, but in your case, it can be anything which you are trying to map with. And now let's go to your DNS. Mine is GoDaddy. In case if yours is anyone else, you might see a difference in interface. Go to CNAME, click on Add. Host name would be www, and we will be pointing it to ghs.google.com. Click on Save Zone File. OK. And OK. And let's go back to our Google Apps control panel and say I have completed these steps. It might take some time for your domain name system to reflect these changes. So in the meantime, let us also map our naked domain. For that, we need to click on Domain Settings tab. Under Domain Settings, we will be clicking on a link called domain names. Under that, you will find an option of mapping your naked domain. In my case, it says change redirect rather than creating one, because I have already tried to do it once. So let me just click on that. Now you need to provide information about where you want your naked domain to be redirected. So in our case, it's www. Let's click on continue. And Google will now give us few IP addresses and will ask us to create A records with these IP addresses at our DNS. Let's copy them one by one and then go to our domain name system and create A records. Let's replace the existing one with the Google one. Create one more. Host name will be @ another IP. Come back to Google Apps Control Panel. Copy this one. Paste it here. Let's create the third one. Go back to Google Apps Control Panel. Copy the third IP address. Let's go back to our DNS. Paste it here. Let's create the last one. @ would be our host name. Copy the last IP address. And let's go back to create this final entry. Paste it and save zone file. Now it might take some time to reflect all the changes which we have made on our DNS. So I'm going to pause this video here and let's see, after some time our site will be mapped to our custom domain name. Type in our domain name www.cloudfixer.com and press enter. And congratulations, it has been mapped to our Google site. Now let us also try our naked domain without www and type in just cloudfixer.com, press enter, and it has also been mapped to your Google site. Congratulations and thanks for watching.